Hey, Warrior Saints. Welcome to today's edition of our Crucifixional live stream. I'm very happy to have you with us, to be with you today, to be all together in this magical place that we are called the interwebs. Yesterday, Father Chris talked about standards, and Christians are often criticized for not living up to their standards that they put out. Standards that Christians supposedly talk about having and then don't embody, don't exemplify, don't live up to. The reality is we now have to ask ourselves, not because this question is asked, but we have to ask ourselves, what does it mean to have the standard? I'm going to rely for a minute on my favorite football team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers have as like a catchphrase, the standard is the standard. This sits outside of their locker room. This is something that they see every time they are about to go from the locker room out onto the field. But what does that really mean? We hear in 2015, the standard is the standard. It's a phrase oft repeated by Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin. One of many catchphrases or Tomlinisms the 8-year coach orates in his weekly press conferences. Going down to the bottom paragraph. However, it doesn't take a diehard Steelers fan to surmise what Tomlin means. Steeler football frequently is associated with a smash-mouth attitude, a class organization, dominating defense, and most importantly, winning. Their goal is to win. Well, Mike Tomlin, what do you do when you're not winning? It's great to have this catchphrase, the standard is the standard, and to keep that in front of our faces so that we somehow are going to just keep going with the standard because the standard is the standard. And we're not going to lower the standard because we're not meeting the standard. Fine, the standard is the standard. You still need to strive to live up to that standard. That standard is set before you as a goal. That standard is set before you as a high bar that you are called to get up to as best you can and to keep striving for. Let's be real, the Steelers this season are not living up to that standard, and they have to face that issue. What are we going to do about it? What steps are we going to take to live up to that standard? And you and I, as Orthodox Christians, have to do the same thing each and every single day. The difference is, for the Pittsburgh Steelers, the standard is winning. For us as Orthodox Christians, we hear, you therefore must be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. In Matthew chapter 5, verse 48, the very last verse of chapter 5, which is in the middle of that, or the beginning of the Sermon on the Mount, that like explication of what it means to live a Christian life, par excellence that Christ gives us. He ends with, you therefore must be perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. This comes after talking about what it means to love our enemies, what it means to forgive, what it means to live the life. This is our standard. We must be perfect as our Heavenly Father is perfect. This goal might seem unattainable. This goal might seem like it's something that we're never going to get to. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. You still are called to strive for perfection. We are still called to get out there every single day, knowing that the standard is the standard, and constantly try to live up to it. Now, we cannot be naive with ourselves. We're going to talk about this a little bit more tomorrow. We cannot be naive with ourselves and ignore what that standard is, thinking, it's unattainable. I'm never going to get there. It's fine. I'll just keep doing things my way. I'll just keep doing it the way I want to do it. After all, I saw a commercial the other day that told me, you do you, little buddy. That's not how life works. We're still called to live up to that standard. But living up to that standard, living up to that perfection, striving to get there is so difficult. And we're here to walk it with you. That's why we exist. WarriorSaints.org. Visit us, WarriorSaints.org. There it is. That's the thing. Click it in the bottom below where you've got the hyperlink. And get on the way of the Warrior Saint. Strive with us. Work together. The more that we are working together to do this, the less difficult, maybe difficult's not the right word, but the less unattainable, if I can say it that way, this perfection becomes, because it's something that we're striving together. We're not alone on this path, and we're working with others on our way to find out what it means to live the way that God has intended, to strive to perfection, or to walk on the way of the warrior saint. Keep walking. We'll see you tomorrow.